how much did Marvel have everything figured out in terms of the sitcoms and ultimately the arc of the entire thing? And how much is it how much were they asking you, you know what I mean, for that back and forth?
It was a real collaboration, which is, I think, one of the great things about working at Marvel. I mean, it's a brilliantly creative place. All the people there are so fabulous and smart. And, we build these things as we go. And a show like WandaVision, that's a real puzzle box, required that as you build forward towards the end, you have to stop as you figure things out and go back and rework the beginning and then keep going. And so that was very much our prep process, was kind of figuring out all of the intricate parts of this narrative and making sure it all worked really well.
You obviously had an extended shutdown due to COVID, and a lot of people, I think, benefit from having more time in the editing room. And I'm curious, how did the extended shutdown possibly shift how the entire series went, or did you make any changes as a result of having more time with the footage?
It's interesting. I think in the end, we probably had about the same amount of time in post as we would have otherwise, because when we finally did get back to production, we were so close to our air date anyway that our post-production on the other side of that, finishing shooting was short and truncated. But yeah, we used every bit of time that we had to get the shows into as good a shape as they could possibly be. And certainly, we learned some things in the editing room that we were able to tinker with when we went back to shooting.
I know the series is 9 episodes. Are you completely done with all 9?
No, we are not completely done with all of them.
Got it. So you're still doing VFX on some of the last ones?
We are, yeah. Yep. Sound mixing, finishing score, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I kind of figured. So I want to confirm, is the entire series, if you were to watch it from beginning to end, is it 6 hours? What's the length of the entire thing?
Yeah, roughly around 6 hours.
I know the first 3 episodes are about 30 minutes each. At some point, I guess some of these episodes are going to start being like an hour? Like, how long are some of these upcoming episodes?
Yeah, I'll let you guys sort of discover that as you go. So much of WandaVision is narrative through form manipulation. We are playing around with aspect ratio and size and episode length and style and design. So there's a lot to discover kind of as you go along.
Okay, so you're saying to me that there could be an episode down the road that is an hour and a half or something longer?
I am doing what I usually do, which is say nothing.
Okay, I get that. Did you end up with a lot of, because now I'm realizing, shit, maybe there's a 2-hour episode at the end, and I didn't even think about that. Did you end up with a lot of deleted scenes, and are there any plans to put them on Disney Plus?
Gosh, I don't know. We haven't really discussed any sort of outtakes or that, what to do with anything we did eliminate. Yeah, every process along the way, there are those scenes where that things get trimmed and stuff gets removed. But yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, let me do the follow-up and say, are there a lot of deleted scenes, or is it just like a few minor things here and there?
Gosh, I don't know. There's nothing major, little things along the way, pacing, clarifying things here and there. Yeah.
In the 80s sitcom episode, did you purposely make a Full House reference?
Oh, I couldn't possibly say anything yet about any of that.
Got it. You've been trained well. How much is it when people watch it again after they've seen the finale? Will they be watching the first episode and being like, oh my God, it was there the whole time?
I think there certainly are Easter eggs and bits of puzzle pieces along the way that when you watch it again, you will see more. I think any good story movie, the ending has to be both surprising and inevitable. You have to feel like it was set up really well. And so that was definitely our goal here. And I think hopefully if you watch it again, you'll see how it was built.
It recently came out that Loki might be they might be doing a second season of Loki. Obviously, this series ties into Doctor Strange 2, and there's a lot more to this, but has there been any conversations about possibly doing something like a second season of WandaVision? Or has this always been planned as like a one-off?
I have no idea about the future. In the Marvel world, in the MCU, the end is often not the end. Who knows? Hard to say.
Got it. There are commercials, really fun commercials in the first 3 episodes. How much are these commercials sort of for the fans, and how much are these commercials actually you should be paying attention because these tie into the bigger thing?
Gotcha. I would hate to answer that with too much specificity. Everything in the show is important to the show and to the storytelling.
Got it. Well, let's switch gears and say, was there anything when you guys were making the series that you battled over, and why?
Is this an interview or a deposition? It's
listen, this is my job. Like, you must know Collider, and you know that I'm trying to dig for things that I can, that people want to know. That's not just like, tell me what it was like working with Elizabeth Olsen.
No, I hear you. No, I applaud they're very good questions. No, I mean, we had a great collaboration. Jack Schaefer and I had a great time working together. All of our designers, cinematographer, the production team is amazing. Many of whom I'd worked with before, all of whom I would be desperate to work with again. And the actors are amazing. At the risk of, breaking down and singing Kumbaya, which I really will do, they're all wonderful. We had the best time. And I think, part of the joy of making the show is that when you're doing so many different tones and styles, you just have to be fearless, and you have to trust everybody, hold everyone's hand, and just take the jump, and I think they were all willing to do that. And it was just, it was so much fun because of
that. This was obviously your first time working with Marvel. I'm curious, did you talk to any of the previous Marvel directors for like sort of input or guidance on how they did their thing? Because one of the things that I commend Marvel is that they're always bringing in new people with fresh takes, and I love it.
Yeah, Marvel is a very open community. So I did have conversations with other filmmakers, all of whom I admire tremendously. And, even when I was assembling a team, for production designer, et cetera, all those guys, I would definitely talk to other directors about people that they had worked with in that process. And then when we have sort of narrative questions as well, we do tend to talk to each other about how those stories will pick up from what's been done and how they'll hand off.
Completely. Are you doing the Cambridge Analytica movie?
No, unfortunately not. That movie was a great script and a great story, but a bit of a tiny movie to be done during COVID, and COVID ended up kind of derailing it because the cost of producing things during this right now is so big that and it also, I think, sadly, or maybe not sadly, maybe for a good reason, its time seems to have passed a little bit because how Trump got elected in 2016 is obviously less relevant than how it might have been if it had come out as planned in the fall of 2020.
Got it. I got to stop. I'm just going to say, I hope I get to talk to you again after I've seen the finale and we can get into specifics.
That would be great. Thank you very much.